Hello, kids. Welcome to your online Sunday school at St. Augustine's Church. I'm your art teacher, Esperanza. And you might be wondering what I was doing. I was lighting the first candle on my Advent wreath. Yes, it's a very special time of year. And during this time, there's so much festivity. There's a lot of decorations, music. We give gifts to those who are special to us. We receive gifts. It becomes just so exciting. But what is it really all about? Well, we start with Advent, which is the last Sunday of November. And Advent is actually something that helps us remember. It means the coming or arrival of something. And for us, it's something very special. It is during this time that we look forward to celebrating Christmas. And Christmas is the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. And we observe Advent with an Advent wreath. And in this instance, I've made my own Advent wreath made of paper. This is tissue paper and cardboard. And it's very easy to make and it's very safe. So we can light our candle without using a flame or a fire. So that means nothing will burn. We just um, uh, pull it out and there it is. So let me guide you in making your own Advent wreath. All you need are a few materials. Of course, the first thing that you would need would be your tissue paper, which we will cut later on. So I have here several colors. I have dark green, light green. I also have purple, rose, and this yellow one for the flame. And I did mention purple and rose because three of the Advent candles are purple and one of them is rose. The third candle is rose. And for this Advent wreath, we would also need a base. So I have here this thick paper that I will be using as my base. But you can also use cardboard or um, paper plate. But in this case, I will use just my thick sheet of paper. And of course, I will need scissors as well, sellotape, and PVA glue. So I have all my materials here. And the first thing I'm going to do would be to make a circle. Actually, it's a circle with a hole in the middle. So it's something more of like a donut. So let me show you. So I don't really have something professional to make a circle, to draw a circle here, a perfect circle. So what I'm gonna do is use a small plate that I found in the kitchen. You can ask your mom or dad or your brother, your elder brother or sister, to help you get a plate that you can use. Perhaps you have a plastic plate, or if you don't have the size of plate that would fit in exactly on the paper, you can just ask your mom or dad or anyone at home for something you can use to draw a circle in the paper. So I will draw that circle now. Okay, and I now have a circle on the paper. Then I am just going to draw a smaller circle inside, probably about 2.5 inches from the side of the original circle. Actually, it doesn't have to be a perfect circle because it will be covered in paper. So this is actually more of a guide. This space is more of a guide for us. So now I will cut it. I will cut it from this thick sheet of paper. And this is going to be the base for my Advent wreath. Okay, so now let me just put this aside. And I am going to cut the inner part off as well. So I am now cutting it out. And there we go. And now we have this donut shape. Let me just get colored tissue paper so that we can see. So this is now the base for our Advent wreath. So I will set this aside and get another thick sheet of paper. And I will use this one to make my candles. So the first thing I'm going to do is to fold it in the middle. There we go. And then I'm going to open it and fold it in the middle again on the other side. And this marks the 4 areas that I will use for my 4 candles. So now using my scissors, I will cut it. So now I have 2 pieces, and then I'm going to cut the third one. Okay, so now I have 3 pieces, and when I cut this, I will have 4 almost equal pieces of rectangular paper. And this is my thick paper as well. Okay. If you need to ask help from mom or dad or your brothers or sisters, please do so. Okay, and then the next thing is to roll this. So I'm going to roll it like so. And I have to make sure that when I roll it, my finger can fit inside. Okay. So now I've rolled it. And then on the sides, I will stick it with cello tape. One side, okay. And then the other side as well. And then as you can see, this one is opening up a little bit. So I'm going to put some sellotape on the middle part as well to make sure that it doesn't open up. So now I have my the base for my candle. So I have one here. Okay, let me just put it over this colored sheet so you can see. But when you're doing it at home, it's best not to have the paper under the pieces that you are doing. So I'm going to roll the next one. And then I'm going to stick it on one side. And then I'm going to stick it on the other side. And then again on the middle. Again, make sure that your finger can fit in and with a little more space so that later on you can pull the tissue paper from inside for the light. Then I'm gonna roll this again. This is the next one. This is our third candle. Okay, and then I'm gonna stick it with tape on one side. Oops. And then again on another side. The lower part. And after doing that, I'm gonna stick the middle bit so it doesn't open. So it doesn't break open later on. Okay, so now I have 3 and the last one. Again, the same thing. I will roll it. It might be difficult when you first start to roll it, but that's all right. Just bear with it. And as you go along, it becomes easier and the curve looks smoother. So again, measure it, make sure your finger can fit in. And then we have to tape one side. That's the upper part. Then we need to put the tape on the lower part as well. And then the middle. I think I didn't do a good job here, so I have to put another piece of tape there. So now I have my 4 candles. Now, the next thing we are going to do is to cover those candles with the appropriate color. So here I have this purple sheet of paper. And to do that, I am going to fold it in the middle. And then again, fold it another time. Like so. And I am just going to cut this here where I folded it. And I can do that with the tissue paper because the paper is thin. But I won't be able to do that with something thicker like my thick paper or cardboard. So now I have to cut this. Okay, so now I have 2 sheets here for 2 candles. And I also have to cut this one in the middle. And this will be for my 3rd candle. So I will have an extra sheet of purple paper, which I can use at another time. I'm going to set that aside. So I'm going to set this aside as well. And I'm going to get my pink rose tissue paper. Okay, I have here that one that has already been cut. So it's also a quarter of the tissue paper. By the way, this tissue paper is just slightly bigger than an A4 size sheet of paper. So now I have this 4 rectangular pieces of tissue paper. And now the next thing I'm going to do is to wrap this candle base that I've created in this colored tissue paper. So I start that by getting a small piece of sellotape and then sticking one side. Okay, this will be the top part that I'm sticking. Then I am going to roll it really tightly. So I'm rolling it. And then I'm going to stick the lower part now with the sellotape. I'm going to stick the lower part like so. So this is one candle. And I move on to the next. So I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to get a small piece of sellotape, stick the tissue paper on the top part of my candle, and roll it tightly. Okay. And then once I reach the end, I will get another small piece of sellotape and stick it at the bottom part. So earlier we stick it inside here, and then after we finish rolling, we stick it with sellotape here. Okay, next one. Okay, again, it's the same process. So we stick this part with sellotape. This is the upper part. This will be where the flame would be coming out. And then we roll it really tightly. Okay. And then we stick it here in the lower part of the candle. And then we do it for the last one. So again, it's the same process. So I'm going to stick it here with cello tape. Then I'm gonna roll it like so. And then I'm gonna stick it here at the bottom with a small piece of cello tape. So now I have all my 4 candles ready. The next thing to do is to create the flame. Now for the flame, I have this yellow piece of paper. And what I'm gonna do, yes, this was part of a bigger one. If you can see here, part of it has been removed. So I'm left with something like a square, but that's all right. You can use either a whole A4 size sheet of tissue paper, or we can use this square one. So the first thing I'm gonna do would be to fold it and then cut it where I folded the paper. And the next thing I'm gonna do is to fold it diagonally. So I will be producing something like 2 triangles with each rectangle. Okay. And then I will cut it where I folded it, like so. So these are the triangles. This one has been cut off. So I'm just going to slightly cut it a bit to make it slightly pointed. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with this sheet of rectangular tissue paper. And then I'm going to cut it. Okay, I've cut it where I folded it. So now I have these 3 triangular shapes, or almost triangular in shape. And then this bit, the thicker bit, would be the bottom part. So I'm going to crumple that. And now I am going to stick that in. This is the top part of our candle. And I'm just going to stick that in until it reaches the bottom here. So once it reaches the bottom, I will get a small piece of cello tape and I will stick that yellow flame on the side of my candle. There we go. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the next one. So this is the triangle. This is the thicker part. So I'm gonna crumple this. I'm going to insert it at the top part of the candle. Just push it in. And here we can see it at the bottom. Okay, let's push it a bit more. And then we get a small piece of cello tape. And we are going to tape this to the bottom part of our candle. Okay, now we have 2. It's actually 2 lit candles now. And now the third one. Okay, so again, same process. This is the thinner area and this is the thicker area. So we crumple the thicker area, insert in the top part of the candle until the flame reaches the bottom. Then we get a small piece of cello tape and we stick that to the bottom part of the candle. There we go. And lastly, we do the same thing for the last candle. So we crumple it, insert it into the top, And then when we see it at the bottom, we get a small piece of sellotape and stick it to the bottom part of the candle using the sellotape. So now we have these 4 candles ready for our wreath. Earlier, we drew 2 circles, one inside the other, and we cut it out for a base, as you can see here. So this is now our base. And we are now going to put the candles on the base. So I'm going to put the pink one first, and I do that by putting sellotape on one side, just a small piece, and again, sellotape on the other side, another small piece, and then I'm just going to stick that here, like so, okay, to make my candle stand up on the base. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of the purple candles. I'm going to put some sellotape on the base. Opposite that sellotape, I'm going to put another small piece of sellotape. And I'm going to stick it on the base opposite the first one. Okay, so now I have 2 candles just opposite of each other. Okay. So the next thing is something similar. Again, we put sellotape on one part of the candle, and opposite that, we put another small piece of sellotape. And then we put it somewhere in between the 2 candles, like so. So if we're going through, let's say we are going through this donut shaped thing, in the middle of that, of half of the donut, that's where we put our 3rd candle. And then for the 4th candle, okay, we do the same process, put a little bit of sellotape, and then opposite that sellotape, another small piece of sellotape. And now we put it opposite this one in the space here, and that's also in the middle of the other 2 candles. So we now have 4 candles made of paper, which are almost equally spaced from each other. So now I will set this aside, and I will go and get my green and light green tissue paper. Okay, what I'm gonna do is to fold it in the middle first. Okay, and having one tissue paper on top of the other, I'm going to cut it. And if it doesn't matter if I actually cut along the fold, but it should be relatively along that area. It doesn't have to be perfect for this one, because for this part, we would actually be creating smaller pieces of various shapes, and we will be crampling them. So it doesn't matter if it's really a straight line or if it's a little bit crumpled. So now I'm going to fold it again. And as you can see, I folded it, but it's not really aligned. It's not exactly over. The edges are not over each on top of each other. So, and that's okay for this particular activity, because we are looking at creating irregularly shaped pieces of paper that we will be crumpling. And again, we can only do this cutting several layers of paper is because the paper is very thin. For cardboard, this will not be possible. Okay, so now I'm just going to cut this into a random shape. So I'm just going to cut it like so. And then this one like this. Now I have several pieces of randomly shaped tissue paper. And now the next part would be to crumple them. So just crampling. I'm just going to continue crampling them. And these later on, after I stick them on the base, would be the leaves, the green leaves on our wreath. Okay, well, we're getting there. We are getting there quickly. And we're up to the last four. We can ask our mom or dad or brothers or sister to help us crumple the paper. And look at those. I have lots of crumpled green and light green paper here. I'm just going to set that aside, put that over there. Get my PVA glue. And I am going to put glue now in between the candles. So in between, there would be glue. And now I'm going to put glue on the outer part of the wreath. So that includes around the candles. There we go. And then I'm going to put glue in the inner part. So again, I'm going to follow the shape of the candle. Of the base. Okay. So let me just lift this for now and remove the excess PVA glue on the table. And this PVA glue is usually water-based, so if it sticks on the table, we can wash it off later on. Or alternatively, if we have old newspaper or something to put on the table before we do our artwork, that will be another way to do it neatly. So now I'm just going to stick this randomly. So let's put the green stuff there. The green stuff we crumpled earlier. And then press it down. Press it down. Okay, here we go. Press it down. And more. And we will continue doing this until we've covered the whole base. Press it down. Yeah, it's a little bit sticky, but again, it's water-based, so we can wash our hands afterwards. Okay. Okay. Then here. Yeah, let's check if there are still spaces that we need to fill with paper. Again, we just press it down. And I have two more here. Okay, let me just put some drops of glue, stick them here. And there it is. Now we have to, I would like to clean this area first before we continue. You can just get a wet kitchen towel or kitchen rug, clean it. What I'm doing now is just spraying it with water. You don't need the spray. It just has to be a wet rug. But this is what I'm used to using. So I am now just going to wipe it off like so. And if anything is left, I'm going to put a little bit more of water. Again, just water. We're just wiping it off. And then once it's clean and dry, yes, clean and dry, we can put our wreath back and do the next step. Now, the next step is probably the easiest step. It's just putting these flames back inside the candles. There we go. And then when we are ready, let me just pull that one a little bit out, I think. Okay, so now we have our Advent wreath. And for today, being the first Sunday of Advent, we're just going to pull one of the flames out. And we can do that before having our prayers for the day. So I hope you enjoyed today's Sunday school session. And I'm looking forward to more of this um, creative Sunday school sessions with you online. Bye bye.